Larry tried to kill me.
Yeah. I was so thoroughly disgusted.
I mean, think about it. Why does it make you special to do what you do?
Packers jumping around. They rush four. Plenty of time for John. Now squeezes, steps up in the pocket. Elliott can run inside the 10. Head first. He 5-yard line. My goodness.
Rushing forward, ball comes out of the hands of Newton. It's on the ground, and it's still on the ground. Picked up by T.J. Ward at the 4-yard line.
There's also Brian Clady and Bob Miller. Third and long 3. Going deep. Oh, and he's got Thomas. Goodbye. Touchdown.
Here we go. First stamp of the overtime. The Broncos have been in 3 overtime games this year. They won them all. Godwin at the 40. It's Thomas at the 50. Stiff arm got him free to the 30. To the 20. Thomas to the 10. Denver's going on to New England. They win it on the first play of overtime.
Hello, Bronco fans and football fans everywhere. Welcome to Broncos Breakdown on the MHRT Network. This is a show that is everything Broncos and brought to you with emotion, passion, truth, and of course, my comments. I am your host, Bronco Bill. All right, guys, before I get into this, I just want you to notice the lights behind me is usually orange and blue. But because of what happened on Monday night with Damar Hamlin, I've changed it to just Buffalo blue. So that's the reason why it's just a solid blue. And that is in honor and tribute to Damar Hamlin. Speaking of Damar Hamlin, actually, before I get into, just want to say shout out to the guys that are in the chat. Bubba Gonzalez, always a pleasure. Hi, back to you, Avatar. What's up, Broncos country? Well, we just got one game left, so hopefully we can get a win. And then my son's chiming in. He said, "Let's go." Absolutely, let's go. All right, guys. Let me get into the Damar Hamlin situation. I'm not going to delve too much on what happened. That whether we've seen it live or we've seen replays or whatever, it was an absolute tragic situation. And all of our thoughts and prayers across the country, across the world, have gone out to this kid. He's 24 years old, and he's on a road to recovery. So let me just give you the latest update in case you haven't heard it. And if you have, well, please just excuse me for saying it, but I'm going to reiterate anyways. Great progress in Damar Hamlin's recovery from collapsing on the field last Monday night against the Cincinnati Bengals. The latest report is Damar has opened his eyes, talked to the doctors, and in his first words said to the doctors, "Did we win?" And the doctors looked at Damar Hamlin and said, "Yes, Damar, you won. You won your life back." End quote. What a great statement. What an absolutely great statement that doctor said. Because it didn't matter at that point in time whether the Bengals won or the Bills won. And yes, Damar Hamlin's on the Bills. But what I'm saying, it didn't matter. It doesn't matter the outcome of the game. What mattered is Damar Hamlin got his life back. Yes, he won personally. He won. And so did his family. And so has the entire NFL, as well as the Buffalo Bills. Damar Hamlin also had a FaceTime call with his teammates. How great is that? And the words he said to his teammates is, I love you guys. Really? This is coming from a guy who was close to death. And he is telling his teammates, I love you guys. Wow. This kid is remarkable. He's got a heart. He's got a soul. He's got a will and a desire to live and a desire to come back. And he is coming back. When he was taken to the hospital, they had a breathing tube put in, and he was getting 100% oxygen because he could not breathe on his own. He is now breathing on his own. He's doing well. And the doctor said that all of his neurological, I might be pronouncing that wrong, and I'm sorry, guys. But all of his vital signs, basically, and his lungs and his brain and everything is exactly the way it should be. You talk about a miracle. You talk about a miracle. And this kid is living it. I wish him all the best. I wish the Buffalo Bills all the best in the playoffs. How remarkable and how awesome would it be for the Buffalo Bills to go to the Super Bowl and hold up a trophy and hand it to Damar Hamlin? Yeah, guys, it's emotional. It is emotional. I saw the guys on the sideline with tears. I'm not expecting to do that myself, but all of a sudden it just came on. The realization of what that would mean to not only the Buffalo Bills players, to the family, to the NFL. There's going to be all 32 teams are going to do a I don't know what the NFL's calling it. It's not calling it a salute or whatever. I don't know what it's calling it, but it's calling a tribute to Damar Hamlin for all 32 teams, or I should say all 16 games this weekend. They're going to do an absolute tribute, and the Buffalo Bills are going to have something super special. I'm not sure what that is, but I definitely want to tune in for that. Damar, get better, man. The entire NFL is behind you. Doesn't matter what uniform you wear. That's irrelevant at this point in time. What matters is your health and your well-being, and your recovery goes extremely, extremely well. All right. Let's see. Madungus, you can't go there. Bubba Gump. Yeah, you call him that. I can't call him that, but you can. All right. Avatar says that just tells you how great the people who took care of him immediately after his collapse. Absolutely, Avatar. Absolutely. They were there within, I believe I read or heard where they administered medical attention to Damar within 10 seconds of him collapsing. That's phenomenal. That's absolutely phenomenal. And it didn't just come from the Buffalo Bills. It also came from the Cincinnati Bengals. And then they had the ambulance out there that is unprecedented. Usually they take them off in the cart, but not this one. Not this one. Anyways, Damar, get better. Absolutely get better. All right. Let me recap the Denver Broncos at Kansas City last week. Now, I'm going to get into what Madungus Creevy calls a rant and rave. I call it emotion, passion, energy, from me, the fan. So here it is. The Denver Broncos had a solid chance to end their losing streak against the Chiefs, but the refs thought otherwise. Oh, yeah, they did. Final score, Kansas City 27, Denver 24. No, not 9, not 16, not 10, 24. And why? In my opinion, it's because Jerry Rosburg allowed, he's the head coach, is not calling the plays, but still, the game plan was to let Russell Wilson be Russell Wilson. He ran for 2 touchdowns on scrambles, on designed quarterback scrambles. Ran for 2 touchdowns. He was very, very impressive in the game. What wasn't impressive is why the Denver Broncos, in my opinion, did not win this game. And guys, hang on to your seats. fasten those seatbelts because I'm coming after the referees in this game. It was absolutely a bias slant to the Kansas City Chiefs by the NFL referees. Now, these referees, and I didn't think of this myself, but Dungus Creevy thought of it, and I'm going to give him credit for it. The NFL referees need to be 100% 365-day referees, period. Not attorneys, not business people, I don't know, doing whatever. No, 100% focus. Go to school. Learn how to call an NFL game correctly. Yes, people are human. They make mistakes. But when a play is right in front of your eyes and you don't call a penalty, or you call a penalty when there isn't one, and both of them went against the Broncos. Now, you guys may be saying, oh, wait a minute, Bronco Bill, you're biased. No, I'm telling you what I saw. Go back and watch the highlights of the game. It's right there in living color. I think Sutton made an incredible catch down the right sideline, and he didn't even push. The guy's hand is here, and okay, the defender's hand. There was one short. There was one over the top. The guy over the top was reaching in and kind of grabbed Sutton's hand. All Sutton did was push his hand away. What's wrong with that? He didn't push his body. He didn't go like this and push him backwards, but the guy flopped. He did a soccer move. Oh my gosh, I'm hurt. Yeah, right, dude. And the referee bought into it. Why? Because in my opinion, the referees don't want to see the Kansas City Chiefs. The NFL does not want to see the Kansas City Chiefs fall down to the number 3 spot. They want to keep them at 2, and now because of the game not being played on Monday, which I'm not saying that it should have. I'm just saying because the game between the Bengals and the Bills was not played on Monday night, Kansas City now holds the number 1 spot. Don't you think the NFL is biased towards the Chiefs? Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce? Of course they are. Denver is 4-12. They don't want the Broncos to win that game. Why would they? That would hurt the Chiefs. Wouldn't benefit the Broncos except for giving them a win. Of course not. It's all about the NFL and where the money is. That's exactly what it's about. And I'm not saying the referees are in cahoots or anything. Well, wait a minute. I don't know. I know Vegas has a whole lot of money staked in who goes to playoffs and how far and the odds. Isn't it ironic, though, that Denver, I think Denver was underdog by 3.5 or something. Somebody told me that. They were underdog by 3.5 or something. And then because they could have gone to overtime, and I'll get into this. There's another penalty. Another penalty was late in the game, and the Broncos had a chance to get a field goal and tie the game and send it to overtime. And Russell Wilson is roughed up. No, wait a minute. That's an understatement. He was body slammed, picked up like a rag doll and slammed on the ground. Yeah, go back and watch it. And the referee's standing there going, nope, not throwing a flag. Come on. If that's Patrick Mahomes, whoo, flag all day long. If that's Tom Brady, can't blow on Tom Brady. Can't get close enough to blow on Tom Brady because he'll fall down and it's going to be roughing the passer. That's what I'm talking about, guys. That's what I'm talking about. If that was Patrick Mahomes getting body slammed like Russell Wilson did on that 4th down play that would have put Broncos in field goal range, that would have been a penalty on the Broncos, and Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs would have had a 1st down on a 15-yard roughing the passer play. Not when it's Denver. Not when they're 4-12. Nope. Because you can't have that. Because Kansas City would lose their spot in the playoffs. They're seeding. Who cares? Call the game correctly. Those referees need to be held accountable. If football players can bump into a referee and get fined like Jerry Jeudy did and possibly be suspended like others have, why aren't the referees held accountable? Why don't they get fined? Why don't they miss games? Why don't they get kicked out of the league for X amount of games? Sure, that's not going to make up for a stupid botched call or a non-call, but both of those plays went against Denver, and Denver had the momentum. But they didn't succeed in that momentum because the referees took it right out of their pocket. Right out of their pocket to win the game, to force overtime, to possibly win it in regulation. Am I going off on the refs? Absolutely. Because this has to stop. There's been many, many games that have been altered and changed because a referee is blind or doesn't want to call it. Or maybe there's something in it for him. Am I instigating? Possibly. I don't know. But it sure the heck looks like something crazy is going on. If that game was between the Broncos and, let's say, I don't know, the Texans, I doubt seriously that would be called a pass interference against Sutton. And I dang sure bet my bottom dollar that the Texans would have gotten a 15-yard penalty for slamming Russell Wilson down the way the Chiefs did. But it's the Chiefs. It's Patrick Mahomes. It's Travis Kelce. It's Kansas City. Am I angry? Sure I am. Sure I am. Because it's wrong. Completely wrong. I could go on and make this whole show about this, but I better move on. All right. Anyways, I think I ranted and raved enough on that one. Let me catch my breath, guys, because, you know, it really stings and hurts when you lose a game because the refs dictated the game. That's what hurts. If the Broncos would have gotten okay, let's say it's roughing the passer, which it was, and let's say the Broncos don't advance the ball any further and they try a 61-yard field goal and they miss it. Okay, well, at least they had the chance legitimately, not taken away from them, not handed to the Chiefs. Yeah, I know, guys. I know. I said I was going to go on, and I guess I probably should. All right. Let's see. Graham says this year's MVP, whoever's left. Well, basically what it was Madungus Creevy was saying that the referees are the MVP because they gave the game to the Chiefs and basically just, you know, kicked the Broncos to the curb. I mean, when you're 4-11 going into the game, you know, when you're down, why not kick them to the curb? So, yeah, that's the reason why the referees were called this year's MVPs. It was a tongue-in-cheek, so to speak, but I thought it was appropriate. Absolutely. Come on, E. Dixon. How you doing, man? Hitman Bill, you telling the truth, sir. You got that right. Absolutely. It's the only thing I do. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. I'm not going to make anything up. I'm not going to, you know, I mean, I'm going to call it for what it is. And if the refs don't like it, well, then change the way you're making stupid, horrendous calls. Absolutely. I'm going to say the truth, and I constantly and always will. Thanks a lot. Kamani also chimes in, says the refs just don't like the Broncos. Every year they do that. Of course they do. They don't like the Broncos for whatever reason. You know, I'm surprised we won Super Bowl 50 and there wasn't, you know, a penalty called on, I don't know, knocking the ball out of the hands of, forget his name, quarterback. But anyways, yeah, you're absolutely right, Kamani. Absolutely right. I don't know why the NFL is so biased against the Broncos. I don't know what it is, but I've been feeling that for years, my friend. I've been feeling that for years. And last game continues to prove it. All right, let's go to Joe Ellis. This is interesting. This is extremely interesting. Thanks a lot, Avatar. You said Cam Newton. That's right. I don't know. He's been out of the league for a while, so I forgot his name. All right. Joe Ellis. Like I said, this is interesting. According to Benjamin Albright, Joe Ellis fired Mike Shanahan in 2008. He also vetoed Shanahan in 2016. Now, vetoed meaning that, obviously he wasn't going to be a part of the Broncos in 2016. Then he erased a deal that John Elway already had in place to bring, are you ready for this? To bring Mike Shanahan back with Kirk Cousins. That's right, the same Kirk Cousins on the Minnesota Vikings. The Broncos had a chance to have Mike Shanahan as their head coach in 2017 that Elway had already signed off on. It was a done deal. Along with Kirk Cousins. Now, I know, guys, you probably say, well, Kirk Cousins in 2017 was nothing. Look what he is now. Look where he is now. Sure, would Cousins have been that way with, Nathaniel Hackett? Well, that wouldn't have happened. If Shanahan and Kirk Cousins were part of the deal, can you imagine where the Broncos would have been in the last 5 years? Certainly not 4-12. Not in my opinion, they wouldn't be 4-12. But Joe Ellis has a grudge against Mike Shanahan, and therefore he overruled John Elway. Talk about a stupid move. Absolutely stupid. And the Minnesota Vikings are benefiting from Kirk Cousins and Kevin O'Donnell as their head coach, where that could have been the Broncos for the last 5 years. Absolutely, it could have been. Am I glad Joe Ellis is gone? Oh, you betcha. 100% glad he's gone. Glad he's gone. But man, you talk about screwing over the Broncos. I mean, how could Joe Ellis do that to a Pat Bowen-owned team at the time? So Joe Ellis basically put his own ego and his differences that he had with Mike Shanahan to basically ruin the Broncos for the last 5 seasons. Unbelievable. Unfreaking believable that a person would do that. And yet he says, I have the best interests of the Broncos. I've got the utmost. No, you did not. And that proved it. Oh my gosh. When I read that and saw that article by Benjamin Albright, I was pissed. Because I cannot believe that somebody would do that to a Pat Bowen-owned team. And Joe Ellis apparently was supposed to be really, really good friends with Pat Bowen. That's why Ellis was the head guy, the overseer of the trust. Pat Bowen trusted him. And Ellis slapped him in the face. Wow. Unbelievable. Joe Ellis, I hope you never get a job with the Broncos ever again. Ever, ever, ever again. All right. Come on, you nailed it, man. Joe Ellis and the ref MVP. Yep, absolutely. MVP. No doubt about it. All right. Glenn Hauser chimes in. Ellis reportedly killed us getting Kyle Shanahan instead of Vance. Killed us getting Kyle. Oh yeah. Yeah, we should have gotten Kyle Shanahan as well. If it wasn't Mike, we should have gotten Kyle. And he nixed both of those. You talk about a guy who's supposed to be a really good friend and buddy to Pat Bowen. To me, that's just unimaginable that you would do that, that a person would do that who claims to be their friend and who's entrusted with the team. I don't know, man. I don't know. Got me choked up on that one, Glenn. When are you not pissed? Good question. That's a very good question. A lot of times my wife asks me the same thing. Why are you so wound up? Why are you so pissed off? Well, I'll tell you why. Yeah. Hey, Kamani, good point too. Smiling faces do tell lies. I think that's a song. Smiling faces. Yeah. Yeah, something like that. Yep, I agree. What's this now? Come on, the songs say that what friends are for. Yep. Yeah, what are friends for? Exactly. Absolutely. Well, in my opinion, friends are not there to slap you in the face and basically stab you in the back. Yeah, that was I still cannot get over that. That is just mind-boggling. All right, let's go to a good note here. Patrick Surtain. Congratulations to Patrick Surtain for receiving the 2022 Demaryius Thomas Team MVP award. In just Surtain's second season, he has truly become a superstar in his play on the field, and this reward proves that. Congratulations, Patrick. What a great honor. And I saw his presser when he received that award, and he was actually taken back. He was actually taken back and stunned and surprised. And you know what? He should be. But he's done remarkably on the field. He's a great team player in the locker room. He's learning. He's doing everything he's supposed to do. And you know something? When you don't hear Patrick Surtain's name on defense called by the announcers, that's because he's shutting down his side of the field. And they're not throwing to him. And that's a great, great testament to his ability. But when it comes to the Demaryius Thomas MVP award, I think it means more than that. Demaryius Thomas was a humble guy. He was a humble human being, a person with a huge smile, a huge heart, and a love for the game, and a passion for the game. And he played it with emotion. He played it with integrity, and he played it for as long as he possibly could. Patrick Surtain Jr. is the same way. He's humble. He's quiet. He's a leader in his own right. And he deserves 100% the 2022 Demaryius Thomas MVP award. Congratulations, Patrick Surtain. Well deserved. Well deserved. Keep up the accolades. Keep up your gameplay. And above all, keep being who you are. Humble, passionate, and a true leader on the Denver Broncos defense. Congratulations once again. All right. Let's go. Yes. Kamani says congrats. Absolutely. Like I mentioned, it's a high honor, and it couldn't go to a much better person in the way Patrick Surtain has played the game. Absolutely. All right. Let's go to another good one. DeMarcus Ware. DeMarcus Ware is a 2023 Hall of Fame finalist, winning a Super Bowl championship as one of the top defensive players on the Broncos' 2015 Super Bowl team. He is well deserving of being a finalist. More importantly, he needs to be elected to the Hall of Fame this year. Absolutely. DeMarcus Ware with Von Miller on the opposite side was a 1-2 punch in that entire season, and especially in Super Bowl 50. DeMarcus Ware, I know he played a tremendous amount of games, most of his career in Dallas. I would sure and hope that he mentions the love that he had for the Broncos, and he gives a lot of accolades to the Broncos, because that's his only Super Bowl championship he's won, was with Denver, with Peyton Manning, with Von Miller, with Champ Bailey, with just a host of players on the Bronco team. So I hope he gives a lot of credit to the Broncos for his career and his success. I'm not sure. I heard that players don't go in the Hall of Fame, with a team. They go in as their own individual person. But I sure hope that he gives a whole lot of accolades and a whole lot of compliments and praise to the Denver Broncos and for that championship team that he was on. Because I'll tell you what, without that team, without that defense, without Von Miller, without DeMarcus Ware, that Bronco team, in my opinion, doesn't win the Super Bowl. Absolutely does not. It was the defense that won it, obviously, with Von Miller being MVP. It was also DeMarcus Ware taking the pressure off of Von Miller so that Miller could do what he could do. DeMarcus, I wish you all the best. I hope you make it to the Hall of Fame. Absolutely. You deserve it, not only for playing on the Dallas Cowboys, but for being a part of Super Bowl 50 championship for this, our Denver Broncos. Congratulations. I hope you make it. All right. Yeah, good. Yeah, Derek Wolf, you're right. It did have Derek Wolf. Absolutely. Good point there, Kamani. Good point. All right. Russell Wilson. Now, this is interesting because of what Russell Wilson said. And I understand where he's coming from, but to me, it's a little bit surprising that he would admit this. Russell Wilson has admitted that after a frustrating and disappointing season in this past 2022 year, he plans to examine and potentially overhaul his entire routine. Well, I thought he was a dedicated person. I thought he worked, basically 24/7, that in the offseason, he was constantly doing, working with the team and working with the receivers like he did when he came to Denver and had a home in San Diego and went down there and was working with them. Or could it possibly mean that he's not going to have as big an ego? Yeah, right. Come on. You think he'll give up his office that George Payton gave him or that Nathaniel Hackett gave him? One of the two. You think he'll give up all of his posse and entourage that he carries with him or has go with him on every home game and road game? Is that what he's talking about? Wait a minute, what did he say? He said he's going to overhaul, right? Let me go back here. It says, there's the key word, guys. Potentially overhaul his entire routine. Got to read between the lines on this one. Potentially overhaul his entire routine? Nah, I don't see it. I don't see it. And the main reason why I don't see it is because it's Russell Wilson. I just don't see him bending on his own accord. I mean, if it means giving up, his office that he had right next to Hackett, well, maybe the new head coach comes in and says, no, this ain't happening. You're one of the guys. You're not above the team. You're one of the guys. So your office is gone. Oh, and by the way, your parking spaces for all your entourage are gone. And so are they. Is Wilson going to take that lightly? I don't think so. But it's a wait and see. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm just was intrigued by the comment that I'm going to potentially overhaul my entire routine. I don't know. It sounds good on the surface. I just don't know what exactly that means. A little interesting, but it all comes down to the head coach. And that's what I'm getting into right now. Possible Broncos head coach. Before I get into that, Kamani says, we salute you, Ware. Absolutely. Hope you get in the Hall of Fame. DeMarcus, you deserve it. Kamani also says, Wilson's got to give up parking spots. Well, he should. I mean, really? Come on, man. I mean, what are you, a rock star or something? I know that's how you feel, but holy smokes, man. I just don't get it. And yes, he does need to work out those wide receivers. A lot of them were injured. Tim Patrick was injured and Jerry Jeudy for a while and Courtland Sutton. So, yeah, and the timing and Hackett's play calling and all of that was a big mess. So, hopefully with the new head coach, Russell Wilson can iron out whatever Russell Wilson was going through, whether it was Hackett's play calling or just not comfortable with the whole offense. I'm not sure. Speaking of head coach, here it is. Possible Broncos head coach. Jim Harbaugh is at, now, okay, these are rated as percentage-wise as to who the Broncos' next head coach could be. Okay. Jim Harbaugh from Michigan is at 33.3% chance of being the Broncos' next head coach. Dan Quinn, 28.6. Darrell Bevell, who? Oh, that's right. Darrell Bevell worked with Russell Wilson in Seattle. He's at 16.7%. Sean Payton is 14.8%. Okay, those are the top four, with Jim Harbaugh leading the way, followed closely by Dan Quinn at 28.6. I would like Dan Quinn over Harbaugh, although I heard Jerry Rosburg's presser today, and he came out and said that he and Jim Harbaugh are best friends. They've been best friends for 30 some odd years. In fact, Jerry Rosburg's kids refer to Jim Harbaugh as Uncle Jim. Now, you can't get much closer than that unless you're blood related, which they're not. But that's how close Jim Harbaugh and Jerry Rosburg are. And Jerry Rosburg said, hey, Harbaugh would make a great head coach for the Broncos. So even though I've been against Harbaugh because I don't really like his attitude, I don't like his in-your-face type of demeanor. But if Jerry Rosburg, who I do admire and have watched his pressers and do appreciate the man and the way he's handled this team in just a very short time, I'm leaning a little bit more towards Harbaugh because of what Jerry Rosburg says about him and what he thinks about him and how he feels about him. He knows him a lot more than I do because I've never met him, and he's best friends with him for the last 33, 35 years, something like that. So if Harbaugh is the selection, I'm not going to have a problem with it. But I do like Dan Quinn because of Brian Schottenheimer. I like that 1-2 combination. So those are the two top leading guys, followed by Darrell Bevell and Sean Payton. Okay, other notables are Frank Reich at 9.1%, Evero at 5.9%, Eric Bieniemy 3.8%. And here's the funny part. And I say funny because they're even mentioned as possible head coaches, even though they're all 1%. But I find the names interesting. Here they are. Peyton Manning, who's not interested in being any head coach. Mike Shanahan, who I do like. John Elway. Whoa, John Elway? Head coach? Would you guys out there want John Elway be head coach after he totally botched being GM with horrible draft picks and just botching everything in the world? Would you want a John Elway coaching this team? I mean, I love John Elway. I got it's on this side. I got this picture. Let me go on. This picture right here of John Elway and myself. I love the guy. Thought the guy was a great quarterback. I just don't think he'd be a good head coach. But he's only at 1%. So I'm pretty sure that's not going to happen. After John Elway, Bill Cowher, okay, former Steelers head coach. Gary Kubiak, Super Bowl 50 champion head coach, and I would welcome him back in a heartbeat. Shannon Sharp, hey, why not? The Colts got Jeff Saturday, so why not have Shannon Sharp? Not going to happen. And finally, this will never happen, ever, ever, ever. Last person on the list, Pete Carroll. Nah, not going to happen. But I do like the fact that Mike Shanahan was named, as well as Gary Kubiak. Now, they're both at 1%, and it's not going to happen. Kubiak's health, I don't think, would allow him to come back. It's just too stressful. Mike Shanahan, I mean, that would be interesting. I would love to have Shanahan back. I absolutely would. I just don't think it would happen. Now, Ellis is gone from the building. Elway's gone from the building. New ownership. So, I mean, is it a stretch? Oh, sure, it's a stretch. But, man, I would love to have a Mike Shanahan or a Gary Kubiak back in Denver Bronco country as the Broncos head coach. Not going to happen, but, man, what an absolute thought that would be, huh? Absolutely. All right, so Kamani, you don't want John Elway? Not even a little bit? Not even, no, I don't either. Absolutely don't want John Elway as head coach. Can you imagine with that guy's ego? Holy smokes. Well, this is interesting. Haven't thought about this, Kamani. Jimmy Johnson. Let me think about that a bit. I don't know if the game has passed Jimmy Johnson by. He hasn't been in the NFL as a head coach for quite some time. I'm not sure. But he does have a great legacy, a great pedigree as far as winning. I could see that. His name has not been mentioned, but I mean that would be interesting. I just don't know if a Jimmy Johnson would be a fit with the coaching staff we have now. And I definitely don't want to see an Evero gone. Absolutely not. And I would, we need somebody that can relate to Russell Wilson. Now, I'm not saying that Russell Wilson is the next Peyton Manning or the next Tom Brady or even close to a Patrick Mahomes. But I'm referring to Russell Wilson's attitude. And knowing that he has his own office and knowing that he has his entourage and his posse and whatnot and has all these parking spots and this and that, I just don't know how that's going to work. And that's why I'm not sure how a Harbaugh would work. And I just don't know. I don't want any friction. I don't want the friction between the head coach and quarterback. We already had that. We've had that for numerous years. I don't want it again. I want somebody who's willing to bend with Wilson, but I also need Wilson to bend coming back. Now, I heard today from Mundungus Creevy that Russell Wilson actually went to Nathaniel Hackett. I believe that's what he said. Went to Nathaniel Hackett and said, "Hey, I want some more run options. I want to be able to move out of the pocket. I want to be able to open up my game and whatnot." Well, that didn't happen under Hackett, but it did happen last week. It happened last week against Kansas City. He ran for 2 touchdowns. Russell Wilson ran for 2 touchdowns in a single game against the Kansas City defense. That's what Russell Wilson wants. He wants to be able to be Russell Wilson. And Hackett put a round circle in a square box, and it doesn't fit. The only way it fits is if the box is bigger. Well, Hackett wasn't going to make the box bigger. And that's the problem. And now we're seeing Russell Wilson, as of last game, be more Russell Wilson. And I'm hoping that happens this Sunday against the Chargers. Absolutely, I hope it happens. Not sure, but it should. And I know that Jerry Rosburg wants to put everything into this game. He wants the Broncos to end this game Sunday on a high note, to celebrate in the locker room. Hey, we got to win. We're going into the offseason on a somewhat positive feeling. Absolutely. And Rosburg wants that. There's been talk about Rosburg staying on as the special teams coach. I'm not sure that's going to happen because he said in his presser today that he's got a business partner and they're working with the NFL as their own entity, their own business, working with the NFL players who are injured or retire from the NFL and don't get any compensation or any assistance from the league itself. They are there to pick up the pieces that the NFL is not doing. And Rosburg said they're going to have it in place very, very soon. So that means if a player is injured and they have medical bills or they're not getting compensated for things that they need, Rosburg and his associate, Rosburg and his associate are going to step in and provide that needed assistance, whether it's monetarily or setting them up with somebody that can help them out and make it a lot easier for them to transition, whatever the case may be. So that being said, I don't feel that Rosburg would stay on as special teams coach. I really wish he would. He's done great so far. Absolutely great so far. There is one thing I forgot to write down, but I do know what it is. Excuse me, guys. Hinton is not active to return punts. He's not even going to be playing in the game on Sunday against the Chargers. And Rosberg did not mention who's going to be returning punts or kickoffs. He said he did not want to give the Chargers any ammunition as to who may be back there to field punts and or kickoffs. But Kendall Hinton is out for Sunday's game against the Chargers in the final week of the Broncos season. That hurts. But I trust Rosberg. I mean, he's a great special teams coordinator, and I know he'll find the right person to be back there. It's just sad because Hinton was doing everything correct last week against the Chiefs. All right. What? Kamani. What? Time to cut Hinton. Why? He's injured. Why would you cut him? I mean, the guy's giving it everything he has. I'm sorry, Kamani, but I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. Now, I'm not saying Hinton should be, a number one, number two receiver, but he, when he's filled in as receiver, he's done extremely well. Punt returning last week, he fielded a punt at the 10-yard line when the Broncos were trailing and ran it to the 27. Now, he could have let it go like everybody else has. Washington's letting it go many times, and it dies on the 2-yard line. But Hinton was told by Rosberg, if a ball comes to you at the 10-yard line or deeper, you run it back. We need field position. And that's exactly what he did. Cut Hinton? No. I'm sorry. I don't agree with that. Sorry, Kamani. I'm always on your side 99.9% of the time, but sorry, not on that. Can't do it. Here we go. Kamani says Hackett didn't do that with Rodgers. He let Rodgers be himself. Absolutely did. So I don't understand why he wouldn't let Wilson be himself. But when Hackett's removed as head coach and you see Rosberg in there and Rosberg's turning over the reins to his coordinators, then you see the results. Russell Wilson, 2 rushing touchdowns, a beautiful pass that fell right into the hands of Cortland Sutton that the referees botched and called a pass interference. Yeah, let Russell Wilson be Russell Wilson. That's what you have to do. And that is what Rosberg is doing. Thank goodness. All right, guys. I go into the last topic of this show right before the Broncos' final game of the season. And here it is. LA Chargers at Denver Broncos. The final game of the season comes down to this Sunday at Empower Field at Mile High. The Chargers can't lose their spot in the playoff seeding. So, will they play their starters? Well, I think they will. Absolutely they will. Because they don't have a bye. So, they need to keep up that routine and that pace of playing every week. So, I think they're going to play their starters. Now, that being said, if the Broncos are way ahead, and I sure hope they are, if the Broncos are way ahead, they may take out Herbert, and they may take out some of the receivers, and they may take out Eckler because they're already behind big time. Let's say the score is, 21-3. I sure hope so. That sounds like a great score. I'd love to have the Broncos 21-3 over the Chargers, or reversed 21-3, which I don't want to see. Either case, if there's a big lopsided lead going into third quarter, then yes, perhaps the Chargers rest their starters. Will the Broncos rest their starters? Absolutely not. I mean, what starters do they have left? Half the freaking team is on IR or injured. So they basically don't even have a they don't even have a supporting cast at this point in time. So do the Broncos rest their players? No. They want to get a win for the Broncos country at home to wrap up the season and end it on a good note, a winning note, snapping this forever losing streak. Seems like forever. I can't remember last time they won. Does anybody remember last time we won? Was it Jacksonville? Oh, God, we got to go all the way back to London to our last win. What was that, 1995? I mean, it's ridiculous this season. This season's totally ridiculous. Anyways, I continue. Denver, however, wants to win at home to end the season on a good feeling. That said, Will Denver play as hard as they did in Kansas City? They better. They better play just as hard. It's a divisional team. You want to make a statement. The Broncos, like I said about the Chiefs game, had that game in their hands, but the refs took it out of their hands and stole the possible tying field goal right out of their hands. Are the referees going to do that to the Broncos again this week? Possibly. Why wouldn't they? Chargers are in the playoffs. Broncos are 4-12. The referees don't care about the Broncos winning. Now, that being said, the Chargers can't move up from the spot in the wild card, and they can't move down. So if the Broncos win, it doesn't matter. The Chargers aren't going to benefit from a Charger win or be hindered by a Bronco win. So what does it matter? Well, I guess it matters to the guys in Vegas, and I don't mean the Raiders. I'm talking about the betting, the sports books, MGM, whomever, Mandalay Bay, whomever's got the sports books. They're the ones that want the outcomes to benefit them. And again, I'm not gonna say that the referees are in cahoot. Okay, I'm not gonna say it. I'm not gonna say they're in cahoots. You just never know. So, and also, will the refs, like I said, will the refs botch the game and give it to the Chargers? I just mentioned that. I don't know. I sure hope not, because the Chargers won't benefit from a win, or they won't be hindered by a loss. Doesn't matter to them. They're the number, 4 or 5. They're the number 6 seed in the playoffs. They can't move to 5 and they can't go down to 7. Doesn't matter. Okay, both are possible. But let's hope the Broncos have a large enough lead so the refs can't give it to LA. Final score, guys. Here's what I say the final score is. But before I get to that, let me get to some of the comments. Let's see. What's it say here? Kamani says, Bill, I had to get you going to keep hitting. I know, Kamani. I know how it works. Everybody likes to get under my skin, which is totally fine, because you'll see the result. You'll see it. It's raw, it's heartfelt, it's passionate, it's emotional. Just like I said at the beginning, this show is all about the Broncos, but I bring it with emotion, passion, truth, and my comments. Absolutely. Okay. Let's see. Kamani also says Broncos 31, Chargers 23. Okay. I like that. I like that a lot. Absolutely like a lot. I just don't know. 31 points? Whoo, we haven't scored more than 24 all year. And you're giving the Broncos another touchdown on top of that? Okay. All right. I like the way you think, Kamani. I like the way you think. Absolutely. Let's hope it is 31-23 Denver. I'll take that all day long. But I'd rather have the Broncos defense shut down the Chargers and not give up 23. But you got Herbert, you got Eckler, you got their receivers, and you also have their defense. So 31 points, that's a very, very stiff number to come up with. But I like the way you think. Absolutely. Okay. Another comment by Kamai says, okay, this when I play bad guy, if we lose, then it won't be a surprise. No, Kamani, it won't be a surprise, but it'll totally piss me off because I can't stand the Chargers. I mean, this game. I want the Broncos to win this game so bad because I can't stand the Chargers. And I don't know most of you guys know by now or should know by now why. And I'm not going to really get into it right now, but I just don't, I don't want their so-called fans to be rewarded when they don't even show up to their games. Well, they got 5 fans. I don't want the Chargers to win at all, period. I don't want them to win Sunday, and I dang sure don't want them to win the playoffs. I don't care who they play. I'm cheering for anybody else but the Chargers. Anyways, going back to the final score, Kamani says Kamani says the Broncos will win 31-23. I say the Broncos will win 27-17. 16. I think the Bronco defense, excuse me, guys, is going to shut down the Chargers offense. And being 27-16, 11-point difference, I definitely see the Broncos defense showing up for this game, playing hard, giving it everything they have, because they have all the time in the world to rest and get healthy and get back into focusing on 2023. But right here, right now, this Sunday, the Broncos need a win to close out the season on a high note, to give the fans at Mile High Stadium something to cheer about, and to beat the Chargers and make this guy as happy as I can be in a late Christmas present. That's it, guys. That's all I have. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Guys, if you have not, please do so. I always appreciate it. You guys in the chat room, I want to give a shout out to everybody that was in the chat room. Bubba Gonzalez, Avatar, C, my son, Mundungus Creevy, Graham, Kamani, Glenn Hauser, all you guys, thank you so much for being in the chat. Thank you for making this show that much more interesting, that much more engaging, and that much more enjoyable for not only myself, but hopefully for you guys as well. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of the night. Have a great, great weekend. And remember the other shows that are on. Saturday is going to be the new kickoff of the neighborhood involving the Avalanche. It's going to be the Avalanche neighborhood. And then on Sunday, it's the Broncos neighborhood. And then on Monday, we have the Cluster Puck. Tuesday, we have the 5280 podcast. Wednesday is the Wild Wild West. And next Friday will be Broncos Breakdown, hosted by me, Bronco Bill. I'll be back on and hopefully talking about a Bronco win. Until then, guys, have a wonderful weekend. Enjoy the Bronco game, and let's go Broncos. Till then, guys, we will talk to you on Friday. Take care. Bye-bye.